Hello, everyone. This is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review. And today I have my special guest with me, Island Snake. Say hello, Island.
Hey guys.
Hey, guys.
Hey guys.
And this is a card by ShadowReign. Let's see what we got going on here. This is Sir Aban. How do you pronounce that? Do you know? Let's see.
No.
Sir.
I think it's like when you make a D&D character, you're like, I want to do Sir, but I need to like spell it fancy like.
Is that what it is? Define Sir. Or is it like syrup? Okay, I don't think "sir" is a real word.
No, yeah, I think it's just like
Uh,
fancy Sir.
but it exists on some Magic cards, right? So it's like,
Does it?
yeah, some Magic cards in Eldraine had it, "sir."
Yeah, so yeah, same. It's like fake Sir.
So maybe it's like gender neutral. That might be the idea behind it, right? Because it's on some of these females.
Well, I think Sir is gender neutral when used in a military context.
That's true. That's true. So they're just who even knows what's going on here, you know?
It's
Anyways,
fancy. It's fancy.
Sir Aban?
Aban? Aban?
Aban?
Yeah,
Aban?
I think Aban makes more
Aban?
sense.
Wouldn't Aban have two N's?
Probably.
I think this is Aban?
Sir Aban?
Yeah, I think you'd pronounce this Aban, right? In English? I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's. You're right. You're right. You're right. I
Advent
can't get over this. He looks like Skinny Hagrid. I don't know why he doesn't actually
Skinny
look like Skinny
Hagrid.
Hagrid, but when I first saw the picture, I was like, it's like Hagrid but skinny. But it doesn't look anything like Hagrid at all.
Yeah,
I don't know what's wrong with me today.
it's okay. I'm not a big Harry Potter guy, so I didn't see that, but I believe you. All right. Anyway, this guy is an Adventurous Sorcerer. He's 4 mana black. He's a 4/3 human knight, even though he's a sorcerer. Okay. Well, you can't fit human knight wizard on there, right? So, all right. Commander suspend 2. Rather than cast this card from your hand or the command zone, you may pay and exile it with 2 time counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, remove time counter. When the last is removed, cast without paying its mana cost. Can you not have suspend on a commander? Let's see. Rather than cast this card from your hand. Yeah, wow. Look at that. They worded it so you can't actually have suspend. Do you know how suspend works, Mr. Island Snake?
Well, I imagine it works exactly like that, but less fancy,
What now?
right? Like it works exactly like this, right? Except not for every card instead of just commander.
Well,
Like it's your hand instead of the command zone.
yeah. Well, so
Yeah.
ignore commander. I just mean in general suspend. You get how that works, yeah? You pay a certain cost, and then the card basically gets exiled, and then in that many
Comes back
turns
later.
it comes into play essentially.
Yeah.
So
Is it weird that it has a different cost?
it is weird,
Okay.
kind of. So in Commander, okay. So I mentioned when I talked to you before, I mentioned that Commander has like deck construction requirements based on the commander you chose. I think, right?
Yes.
So you can only play cards in your deck that are the colors of your commander's color identity. And color identity is defined by any of the mana symbols on the card at all. So this guy would let you play black and green and white. So that's kind of the benefit
Okay.
of having this weird cost here, right? Is that. So because okay, well let's read the rest of this. So whenever Sir Aban, Adventurous Sorcerer, enters the battlefield or attacks, if it was cast from exile, draw 2 cards. Otherwise, each opponent loses 3 life and discards a non-land card. Okay. So this okay, so you do this, he goes on an adventure, right? That's the idea. He's going on an
Yeah.
adventure. And when he enters the battlefield or attacks, if it was cast from exile, draw 2 cards. Does that actually work that way?
Oh, so like every time he attacks that also happens.
Yes, but okay, but I correct me if I'm wrong, viewers, and specifically Jadefire is who I'm asking, probably. But okay, if it was cast from exile, can this I'm pretty sure this can only affect the enters the battlefield trigger, not the attack trigger. Right?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
If it was cast from exile, or does this card just always remember that it was cast from exile, and so therefore?
Well, yeah, I think if it's not cast from exile, the draw two cards never happens. But if he was casted from exile, every time he attacks, you draw two cards,
You
which
think
is
so?
weird.
See,
I think so.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Because
I mean,
what's the point of if it was cast from exile, draw two cards?
well, if you suspend this guy, then you
Yeah.
cast him from exile,
I get that.
and so the enter the battlefield would hit this, right? Or this would affect the
Oh
enter
yeah,
enters the battlefield.
I see what you're saying.
So like, there's one situation where you send him on an adventure, and then when he comes in, you get to draw two cards, and then every time he attacks, each opponent loses 3 life and discards a non-land card, right? Or there's the situation you're talking about where if he goes on the adventure at all, you draw 2 cards when he enters the battlefield, and then you can attack and draw 2 more cards. And then every time you attack, you draw 2 cards. I don't think that's the way this works.
It's like it's worded like you have to like there's 2 modes of this card and they don't ever change, right? Because like if you don't draw the cards when you attack, then do you just make everyone lose 3 life every time you attack?
I think so. Each opponent loses 3 life and discards a non-land card. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
The thing is, okay, so I actually don't know, but I think that's how it works. If that's not how it works, then this card's, I think, really busted. The fact that you draw 2 cards every time you attack with this guy is like crazy. That's like crazy. Like way too good, right? In my opinion, anyway. I mean, this mode is already quite good. Each opponent loses 3 life and discards a non-land card. I mean, that's strong. The fact that this is that it says discards a non-land card is actually like really strong, right?
Yeah, because you can't even get rid of like a bad card. Well, a card you didn't need as much if you have like a lot of extra lands in your hand.
Yeah, you can't like just ditch lands, right? You have to ditch a non-land card. Okay, I mean this guy seems really strong. So
I'm a little bit confused with the wording.
Yeah, me too. The wording's a little strange.
I think it's I think it's interesting that like either way no matter how the wording works out, it seems like you have 2 modes to choose from here, right? And they don't swap. Because like the otherwise thing is just weird, right? Like
correct. So
because either it's attacking. So it says whenever it enters the battlefield. So the trigger is you summon it somehow, or the trigger is it attacks.
Yep. Correct.
If it was cast from exile, you draw 2 cards. Otherwise, each opponent loses 3 life. So I guess you could read that as the only time you draw cards is if you send them on the adventure, and then otherwise you're just making everyone discard cards every time you attack.
Right.
That would probably be the most balanced way to read it.
Yeah, so you're reading it like a normal human would read it, right?
And not like a rules judge would read it.
Yeah, not like a rules judge, which is like the way I'm trying to read it. So okay, let's go under the assumption that we're reading this like a normal human. Okay, we're baby Timothy and we're playing Magic for the first time, right? And we read this. And,
but sir
Aban. So yeah, this card's busted, I think. I mean, okay, so you have to suspend him for that, but like every time he attacks, you draw 2 cards. That's crazy, dude. Because here's the thing about that, right? So the normal downside, the big downside of this guy is he's 3 toughness. So like when he attacks, you're gonna get a trigger, but like often he's gonna die in combat, right?
Yeah. But he goes back to your command zone.
You go back to your command zone, and actually,
you could the commander suspend doesn't scale the same way.
That's true. Yeah, the commander suspend does not scale, so you can always play this guy for 4, but you do have to wait 2 turns for him to come into play.
If that comma wasn't after exile, I think it would read like if it was cast from exile. If there wasn't a comma there,
then it would
like
be
a pause. It would be.
If there wasn't a comma, it would be incorrect grammar, right?
Would it be? If it was cast from exile, draw 2 cards. Like,
I mean, you can say it that way. It doesn't make it correct
yeah.
grammar, though.
I mean, I guess it's. I mean, this is a long run-on sentence anyway. It's like fucking
Yeah.
4 commas in one period. So let's not get too. I just mean like the pause there makes it seem like they're separating the mechanic, right? Like it's like if it was cast from exile, stop, draw 2 cards. But if it, so that makes it seem like the draw 2 cards things also happens separately from they like separated it in a way what makes me like read them like separately from each other and not together. Either way, though, like
the
I think
wording's
this card
strange.
is,
Yeah, the wording's
yeah, I think this
strange.
card's pretty strong.
But
But
yeah,
all commanders seem like they're busted in some way.
but okay, but here's the thing about this guy, right? I I feel like I would never ever cast this guy for his normal cost, and I would just always suspend him, and then I would just play a deck that just like plays a bunch of ways to like help this guy survive combat, basically. And the thing is, because you're drawing 2 cards every time you attack, you're basically drawing 3 cards a turn, and even one extra when he enters the battlefield. So like on the turn he enters, you're drawing 5 cards, right? You draw 1 for your turn, you draw 2 when he comes in, and you draw 2 when he attacks. You're going to see 5 cards, and that means there's a really good chance this guy's going to survive combat. You're going to find something to help him get through, right? If you're building your deck that way. I mean, even if it's just like make this guy indestructible, like right, so he doesn't actually deal the damage, but the fact that like he's attacked means you've drawn a lot of cards, right? Then after that, every time you attack, you essentially draw. So like you're basically drawing 3 cards a turn after that, and like you kind of, if he dies, it's actually not a big deal because you'll just suspend this guy on the same turn, and then in 2 turns you'll draw another 5 cards.
Yeah, that's true.
And it does like
Do you? All right, so like let's divorce ourselves from the wording. Do you think that the author of this card wants you to attack, draw cards every single time you attack?
I think so. I think that's the intent behind this card. Because otherwise, there's different.
But
there's
why
different,
the word? Why the word otherwise then? Like it's
because
like
if
otherwise
if
each opponent loses 3
if it
life.
wasn't cast from exile,
So you're saying it's a 2 mode card. So you never get the other effect if you cast them from exile.
correct?
Is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's right. Yeah. So
I guess that kind of goes with the cost too, where it's like, I mean, like if you summon him, he's like a black card, and he's making everyone like lose life and discard cards. And if you do the adventure, he comes back with like different gear, and he's doing like he has like white and green mana, which I guess is not. I don't know. I don't know if that fits the color identity better.
not exactly. I mean,
But
not really, to be honest. Like I would much rather see this guy as like a blue green
yeah,
or something card, or like a blue white. I mean, the based on what this guy does, it could just be a blue black card, really. I mean, drawing cards and making your opponent discard, like I kind of get why you're doing this. This is like for flavor reasons, right? It kind of like fits the adventure flavor, but it definitely doesn't fit the effect. That's for sure. So yeah, okay, so the idea is kind of neat here. The fact that like the commander suspend is kind of neat, but like the main problem I have with this card, outside of the fact that it's I think way too strong, is the fact that because the first mode just seems so much better than the second mode, I feel like I would almost never just cast this guy. He does drain everybody for 3, but that's like not a lot in Commander.
I mean, discard an online card for every player is like a good way to get everyone to like look at you at the table.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then the next turn you're like not in the game anymore.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I mean, making it force them to discard an online card is like pretty annoying. Like everyone's gonna, yeah, that's true. Everyone's gonna hate you if you use this mode, right? But if you use the better mode, like they're gonna be like, oh god, look how many cards he's drawing. But they're not gonna like, they're not gonna like form an alliance against you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it feels like I would love to see these modes a little bit more balanced, so that like with each other, so that there's sort of more of a decision to be made here, rather than like I would pretty much just always cast this guy. I would always like suspend this guy basically. Um, so yeah,
And you can start the suspend on turn one because you're guaranteed to have it, right? So it's not like
not on turn one. You have to have 4 mana to do it.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. So
So
this is kind of a late game card. It comes out pretty late.
them done on turn 6 if you're hitting your land drops. I mean, you could also ramp this out potentially. You could you can do it faster. Um, so yeah, like I think the idea here is that like I think what he's going
Oh,
for.
you can do both actually.
What do you mean?
So like you could play this card, right? Like for the black cost on like turn four, if you didn't have the mana, and then the second you get like the right mana set up, you can suspend him from play. It doesn't
No,
say you have
it's yeah. You have to do it from your hand or the command zone. You can't do it from play.
this rather than cast this card from your hand or the command zone. You may pay in exile. It doesn't say that it needs to be in your command zone.
Yeah, but that's how suspend works.
Oh, so they're just like stealing the because it just says rather than cast it from your hand or the command zone.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. Suspend
so it
is a
doesn't have to.
suspend is a real mechanic. The only reason that this says commander suspend is because suspend says rather than cast this card from your hand. It doesn't mention the command zone basically. So you can't actually have a commander. If a commander has suspend, you can't suspend him from your command zone. But that's why this
Okay.
says commander suspend. That's why this is a different mechanic, right? This is so that you can suspend it from the command zone.
So if it's not in your hand or the command zone, it's already in play. You can't do this.
Correct.
All right. That's
So
fine. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
yeah. So like I think the intent behind this card is like, you know, if you cast this guy on 4, everybody
Just
loses
suicide
3. Yeah, and then you just like attack with him, and then I mean he's got a higher chance of living if you cast him on 4, but like so like let's say he dies and then you just suspend him. I mean I could maybe see like that version, right? Maybe that's like the one time you use this is like you play this guy on turn 4. He's pretty easy to cast, right? So you play this guy on 4, attack with him. The next turn he dies, and you just start suspending him every time.
And I guess certain white decks might care more about the. Oh, I guess you're not gaining life. Never mind. I was gonna say well, I guess there are some cards that like whenever an opponent loses life, you get life. Because with like
Yeah,
3 other players in the game, hitting everyone for 3 is a lot of like possible life gain, or if from that effect
sure,
if it was on the field.
sure, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that this guy is a little bit too strong. I think the fact that you draw so many cards the turn he comes in with suspend is like your hand you're just gonna like draw so many cards that you're just gonna be able to keep this guy alive and just keep drawing cards and keep attacking
Can you swing with him the second he pops in?
from suspend.
He doesn't have
Yes.
summoning sickness.
No.
Oh,
They,
okay. Wow,
well,
suspend is a really like complicated mechanic that's not explained at all in the card.
I don't know. That's probably why they don't do it.
It's like it has a whole paragraph like described
Actually,
to help you.
Okay, hold on. This actually doesn't say that it has haste
No, it doesn't.
because I assumed it did because normal suspend has haste.
Maybe he just ran out of room. Does it
uh,
though?
yeah,
Some of these don't have.
it has
Oh yeah,
haste.
well, it has haste. Okay, so without that, you can't attack.
Yeah.
When you
Okay.
use
So
it.
that actually.
And he has room for it too, so it must either have been an oversight or a choice.
No. It must be a choice, right? Because you definitely just copy this text from Scryfall and paste it in there, right? So it's definitely like a choice. Okay, so that definitely changes things. I assumed that it had haste, but it doesn't. So you don't draw 5 cards the turn this comes in. You draw 3 and then you draw 2 cards every time it attacks. So it's not as busted as I thought. I think it's still quite strong though.
Yeah, I mean, card draw is it's a really strong effect, especially for a not blue deck. You have 3 colors, no blue.
Yeah,
You're drawing a lot of cards.
yeah.
I think it should be blue, white, black, but that's just me. I don't really understand the color identity of green
color
beyond
identity is a
big
little
big
weird.
creature.
Yeah, the color identity is a little weird here. I think the only reason he chose this was because to make it like adventure themed. But I mean,
Or the deck he wants to run
yeah,
has
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So okay, so this card isn't as busted as I thought. I still think I think here's one thing that would actually help this card out a lot is if you draw the cards, then you lose life. Draw 2 cards and lose 2 life. I think that would actually help this card out a lot. And it's like black cards do that a lot where you draw cards but you lose life. And I think that actually makes this mode a lot more of a choice because like early on you're still going to use that mode a lot, but once your life's total starts going down, then you're going to start switching to this other mode.
Yeah.
And and then you have like fewer color identity issues, right? Because then like the draw 2 cards isn't so out of place.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think that would really help this card out quite a bit. So I'm gonna okay. What do you rate this card?
I'm gonna go with a 3 out of 5. I think it's fine. Um, it's a little bit OP, but honestly, Commander just seems like an absolute clown show
Yeah,
of mechanics anyway. So I'm not sure actually how OP would be,
yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
not really a big Commander player.
Right. I mean, same here. I still think this card's a little bit strong. I think if you tack the lose 2 life onto the draw triggers, I think that would really help this card out a lot. Like I said, um, I think it's a neat card. I'm gonna go with the 4 out of 5 on this one. I think that the idea is cool. I like the idea of um, I like the idea of having a choice between suspending this guy and casting him. Right now, I don't feel like it's a like I feel like the draw 2 cards mode is enough better than the other mode that the choice is it's going to be like 75% of the time you do this and 25% of the time you do this. I wish it
Yeah,
was more of a 50-50.
fair enough. I
So
mean, it's also slightly harder to get the cost for the suspend.
I mean it's true, but it's
Two
Commander. I
two
mean
types of mana instead of 3 types of mana.
yeah,
I mean, one type of mana.
it is true. Commander has a lot of mana fixing generally, so it's probably not that difficult. But yeah, I mean it's certainly something to consider. Um, and you do have to wait a little bit for this guy to come in. So yeah, I'll go with a 4 out of 5. Like neat. I think it's a neat idea. I wish it was a little bit more balanced. But other than that, I think it's a cool card. So yeah,
Agreed.
that's our review of Sir Aban, Adventurous Sorcerer. Thank you for watching.